Seahawks fans are not going to believe how fast things are starting to heat up right now. Just when it felt like things were calming down a little, boom, more news drops. And suddenly, there's a lot to talk about heading into the season. And honestly, if this is a preview of what's coming next, this team could be way more dangerous than people outside Seattle are expecting. Hit that like button if you're hyped for this season, and drop "Go Hawks" down in the comments if you're riding with Seattle no matter what. The Seattle Seahawks just made sure one of the most intriguing young defenders from this rookie class is officially in the building. And the timing of this news could not be more important for what this franchise is trying to build heading into the 2026 season. Bud Clark is officially a Seahawk after agreeing to his rookie contract, and this is exactly the kind of move Seattle fans wanted to see happen quickly, because there was absolutely no reason for unnecessary drama or delays around a player the organization clearly believes can become a major contributor in Mike Macdonald's defense. According to reports, the deal is a 4-year contract worth around $7.8 million with a signing bonus north of $2.1 million. And the second this became official, it immediately shifted attention toward what Seattle's defense could realistically look like once training camp starts rolling, because Bud Clark is not arriving as just another depth piece. The Seahawks see something very specific in him. This is a player who built a reputation at TCU as someone who constantly finds the football, constantly creates chaos, and constantly puts pressure on quarterbacks by taking away passing lanes. Seattle did not bring him in just to sit quietly at the bottom of the depth chart. They drafted him because they believe his playmaking ability translates directly into the style of defense Mike Macdonald wants to run. One of the biggest talking points surrounding Clark during the draft process was his ability to force turnovers. That is not a random stat padded against weak competition. 15 interceptions over 4 seasons is production that jumps off the page for any NFL defense trying to become more aggressive and opportunistic. And when you look at what Seattle has prioritized lately, the pattern becomes obvious. This front office wants defenders who can change possessions instantly. They want speed, instincts, and versatility. Bud Clark checks every one of those boxes. What makes this even more interesting is how Macdonald rotates personnel in the secondary. Seattle is not operating with a defense where only the starters see meaningful snaps. The coaching staff wants waves of contributors. That means Bud Clark may enter the league technically behind established veterans on the depth chart, but there is already a strong expectation that he will play early. The Seahawks have shown repeatedly they are willing to put rookies on the field if they prove they can execute assignments and create impact plays. Clark's ball skills alone give him a legitimate pathway to immediate involvement. And honestly, when you study this safety room closely, there is room for somebody exactly like him. Seattle already has veteran leadership and experience, but what they needed was another instinctive center field type safety capable of flipping momentum in a single snap. That is why there has been so much excitement around Clark internally and among fans who followed his college tape closely. There is a belief that he can become one of those defenders quarterbacks underestimate until suddenly he is standing under an interception with the crowd exploding at Lumen Field. At the same time all this contract news was breaking, another major development surfaced around Seattle's upcoming season. Reports emerged that the Seahawks are expected to open the 2026 season at home against the New England Patriots, and that immediately created conversation everywhere because many people assumed Seattle would open against another opponent entirely. Instead, the NFL appears ready to start the season with a matchup that carries a ton of storyline potential and emotional energy around the league. The reaction to that leak was fascinating because there was genuine surprise surrounding it. Some expected Seattle to face a different high-profile opponent in Week 1, but the Patriots matchup creates a completely different atmosphere. Opening at Lumen Field is already intense enough for visiting teams, but now you add a nationally discussed opponent into the mix, and suddenly the Seahawks are stepping into the season with enormous attention on them from the first snap. And there is another layer to all of this that matters. Seattle clearly wants to establish momentum immediately under this evolving roster structure. Every move this offseason has pointed toward urgency. The front office is not behaving like a team slowly rebuilding over several years. They are acting like a franchise expecting meaningful competition right away. Getting rookie contracts finalized early is part of that process. The Seahawks do not want distractions. They do not want holdouts. They want players in the facility learning the system, building chemistry, and competing immediately. Bud Clark getting signed continues that pattern. In fact, one of the most underrated developments from this entire offseason is how aggressively Seattle has handled rookie signings overall. Nearly every draft pick and undrafted free agent has already been signed and brought into the program. That tells you something important about the organizational mindset right now. They want everybody locked in early so the focus stays entirely on football development once off-season activities ramp up fully. That kind of structure matters even more for younger defenders entering a complex system like Macdonald's. Defensive communication at the NFL level is brutal for rookies if they fall behind mentally. The earlier Seattle gets players into meetings and practices, the faster the coaching staff can begin refining technique and understanding. Bud Clark arriving without delay gives him a much better chance to compete for real snaps by the time preseason games begin. There is also something else Seahawks fans should pay attention to here. The organization appears extremely confident in the personality and work ethic of this rookie class overall. The messaging coming out around these signings has consistently emphasized buy-in, competitiveness, and readiness to contribute. Seattle believes this group can become popular very quickly within the city because of how they play and how they approach the game. That is not small praise coming from a franchise trying to establish a tougher, faster identity. And if Bud Clark delivers anywhere near the level of turnover production he showed in college, Seattle's defense instantly becomes more dangerous in late-game situations. One interception at the right moment can completely swing momentum in the NFL. One forced mistake can decide playoff positioning by December. The Seahawks know that. That is why players with elite instincts are valued so highly in modern defenses. You cannot teach natural anticipation around the football. Bud Clark already has it. Now the attention shifts toward how quickly he adjusts once he gets onto the practice field, with NFL speed surrounding him every day. The talent is obvious. The opportunity is real. The contract is done. The expectations are rising. And, with Seattle potentially opening the season at home in one of the most discussed Week 1 matchups already being leaked around the league, the energy surrounding this team is building fast. So now the big question becomes this. Do you believe Bud Clark can become one of the surprise impact rookies for the Seahawks defense this season? And how excited are you about Seattle potentially opening the year against the Patriots at Lumen Field? Make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like if you're fired up about this Seahawks news, and turn on notifications so you never miss any breaking updates around the team. And when this video ends, click the next one on your screen, because the biggest Seahawks stories are happening right here first.